During the debate today, Kelly really showed that her values are aligned with her party values, and that allows her to do a lot more for the people of Iowa. She has their support, along with hopefully the people of Iowa's support.
I think what we really need to look to is making sure that the crisis is solved overseas. When it's eradicated in Africa, that's when we're going to see a real difference. And I first and most importantly would like to commend the Iowa National Guard. Recently, the Washington, Iowa 249th Area Support Company has been called up to go serve in West Africa. And I would like to commend them for their service and their willingness to go over there and make sure that everyone is being treated and properly being taken care of. Specifically, I think that the threat needs to be addressed in the way that it currently is being right now. I think that we should follow President Obama's $5 billion counterterrorism assistance plan that addresses the causes of growing extremism, and we should train security forces to fend off the militants in these countries. But most importantly, I think what needs to happen to really stop the problem at its source is that a dialogue needs to be started diplomatically with Iraq as Sunni population to see if that can be fleshed out in that manner. First and foremost, we need to look back to what has happened in our history with immigration. And I recall the story of Christian Euclid, who's now actually a Democratic strategist in Iowa. And he was brought into the United States illegally back in 1981 by his Honduran mother, where they lived for the next 5 years illegally in Iowa, working and paying their taxes. And in 1986, it was actually Ronald Reagan who provided amnesty to the illegal immigrants who had come before 1982. I think that is something that we should continue to do. We look at Christian's story, and originally, because he was so proud of Reagan and what he was able to do for his family, he was a staunch Republican. But now that he sees the policies that Democrats are making and the progress, like we can see with President Obama's executive order, that's where he lies, and that's what I plan to continue if I'm elected your U.S. Senator. I completely agree and stand by and back our Second Amendment rights to own and purchase weapons. Now, with that said, I think that this is completely subject to reason. What's really unfortunate is the ability to easily access weapons, and that's what needs to be taken a look at. We are seeing this upward trend where these jobs that were previously overseas are now coming back to the United States, and that is directly linked to minimum wage standards going up and working conditions being raised in these other countries where they were previously being outsourced. The other thing that is helping to increase jobs coming back is the ability to have better supply chain management within these other countries, and as goods get shipped over here, it might be just the entry-level components that get shipped and then they're actually assembled in the United States. So continuing on with these programs is what we need to do. Well, I think the first thing is that I do believe that the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which was the first act President Obama signed into law in 2009, is a great step in the right direction for making sure that women get equal pay. And that is because it allows them sort of transparency to be able to know what their male counterparts are making in the same roles. I think in Iowa in particular, we do have a problem with men being overpaid compared to their women counterparts. In Iowa specifically, it's 77.5 cents to every dollar that men make. But we need to also remember that Republicans in the U.S. Senate as it stands right now are actually going against laws that would actually better women and all of society across the board. In fact, not a single male Republican actually voted for the Lilly Ledbetter Act, and that's something that we need to keep in mind. I would make sure that laws will continue to be passed and upheld as we go into the future, because helping women is not just a women's issue. It helps all of society and our economy across the board. Parents need to make sure that these rules and standards and values are being upheld in their homes. But additionally, it really needs to be addressed on a level including our public schools. And, we already have some sort of legislation going on. For instance, 22 states and the District of Columbia require public schools to teach sexual education, but that isn't enough. What needs to happen is, instead of taking this sort of values or bias based towards looking at sexual education, it needs to instead focus on a completely fact-based form of sexual education. Instead of telling someone the values of abstinence, you tell them how effective abstinence is. Instead of telling someone the values of condoms, you tell them the efficacy rate of condoms. And that's what it needs to switch to, so we avoid this sort of gridlock as to what should actually be taught.
As I spent this most recent holiday at my family's farm in Greenfield, Iowa, I had so many things to be thankful for. I was thankful for my family, my health, but most importantly, I was thankful for all of the support that I've had most recently through my friends and family, my supporters, and even those who actually question my beliefs and values. I'm thankful that I was raised in these ways that have made me the person I am today. One who believes that I can go to the U.S. Senate floor and make this world a better place, not because I want to change my political party's ideologically, but because I believed to my full extent everything that I stand for coincides with what the Democratic Party can bring to the United States Senate. And that is why I'm thrilled to be able to be running as a Democrat.
I'm Kelly Erbes, and I approve this message.